New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. I serve as the Senior Minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I'm also the author of a number of prosperity books. I'm the author of The Soul of Prosperity, as well as a number of other books, Prosperity from A to Z, 30 P's for Prosperity, Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board, and Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. So it's always a joy to be with you. And what we do each week is we look at prosperity, not just as money and stuff, but as all the ways that God's love can be made manifest in our lives to make our lives more joyful, more easy, and more supportive of love. So we may look at professional prosperity, where, in the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, we have a wonderful job with wonderful pay, where we provide a wonderful service in a wonderful way. We may look at relationship prosperity, where we have cultivated an inner consciousness of self-love, self-appreciation, and self-support that shows up in our outer world as loving, supportive relationships and loving, supportive circumstances. We, of course, look at spiritual prosperity, for that's where it all begins, where we cultivate an inner consciousness of love, where we vibrate with that love, where we embody that love, and where that love moves through us like our breath or like water through a hose. And then that love shows up in our outer world as the ease and joy and fulfillment fitting the beloved light of God that we are. So each week, we look at ways to either remove a blockage to prosperity or a technique to enhance our prosperity consciousness, which allows us to attract more prosperity. So I'm so excited about tonight's show because we've got a show that will help us all go to the next level. It's called From Manifesting to Prospering. And I know we use the word manifesting a lot on our prosperity journey, but I felt it was important to make a distinction between the two because the difference is actually between night and day. So let's do an analogy. Manifesting is to prospering as a hobby is to a job. Let me repeat that. Manifesting is to prospering as a hobby is to a career or a profession. You see, manifesting, although it's a wonderful thing, is somewhat sporadic. It's almost like we get in trouble and we want to manifest something to get us out of a jam, or we focus on things that we want to manifest. Whereas prospering is a broader umbrella that includes manifestation, but the manifestations become almost byproducts of the energy, the dynamic, and the frequency of prospering. Prospering is the overarching energetic component of us that allows manifesting. So manifesting is easy and effortless as we prosper. So why wouldn't we focus on prospering? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And then we've got a special guest to help us with that, and that is Elizabeth Gensler. So we want to welcome Elizabeth Gensler, and let me tell you a little about Elizabeth. Elizabeth Gensler is a prosperity speaker, and she shares how she uses her prosperity consciousness with her kitty cat. And she's been a student of the 4T classes, and she teaches the Unity 4T classes, and she used them, and listen to this, I love this part. And she used them to create a successful television and video production company. And this is the part I love the most. And 2 years later, she used the same principles to create her husband. Now, I think her mother-in-law and father-in-law might have had something to do, but she uses these principles successfully in her life. And when I chatted with Elizabeth recently, she gave me the idea that prospering is a lifestyle. Prospering is a way of being, whereas manifesting is just a drop in the bucket of that, or just something we do along the way. But when we prosper, we prosper and we manifest naturally, and manifestation is effortless. So welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here and to be a guest on your show. I appreciate you having me.
You're here. So glad you're here. And I want to also say hello to Gary, the guy you created as well. I had a chance to chat with him recently, and it was very nice. So welcome. So glad you're here. I want to hear more, and our audience wants to hear more about how you developed this prosperity consciousness and how you moved from manifesting to prospering in your life by implementing this prosperity consciousness. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Great question, and my cat is very interested.
Yes.
So, let me take you back to the mid-90s is when this journey started. I was in my mid-20s, and I had recently left a company that I'd been working at for a while for another job that was being offered to me, and I kept turning it down. And I eventually liked the title better, and I followed my ego to the title, as I like to say. Yes. And 3 months later, I was laid off.
Yes.
And didn't see that coming. At that time, my friends had just started taking me to Unity of Gaithersburg. And is my cat distracting back here?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
She loves the energy.
Yes.
And I had been hearing messages that I had never heard before at Unity of Gaithersburg, messages of I am love and no one and nothing is against me. And I was at a really low point in my life, collecting unemployment. I was 26 years old. I didn't have much of a savings, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And one Sunday, prosperity speaker Edwene Gaines was there.
Prosperity is God's idea. I love her.
And she has this, for those who know Edwene, she has this amazing story how she went from nothing to becoming a millionaire.
Yes.
And at that moment in time, I'm where you were talking about. I was just wanted to manifest money or a job or something.
Yes.
And I decided to do what she did as an experiment, just to see if what she's teaching works. And what I love is she said, we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe. governed by spiritual law. And at that point, I had no idea what that meant. But she went on
Yes.
to recount 4 laws:
Mm-hmm.
giving of your time, talent, and treasure,
Mm-hmm.
taking action, watching what you say, think, and believe, and forgiveness.
Yes.
So Jim, I just buckled down and I did everything she said. And I started living by those 4 laws. And my life started getting better and better. I started creating what I wanted to do professionally, started my business. Clients started getting bigger and my paycheck started getting bigger. And then my life was soaring. And then, as you said, I created my husband using the same principles. But what you're talking about, it did not happen right away, right? I had to experiment with all of these principles to see them work in my life.
Right.
And to trust in that something greater than myself was a co-creator with me.
Yes.
And as do you know what I love? Have you ever heard? So I say I am prosperous. Like, what is it? 400 times a day is what Stretton Smith and the 4T recommends. 200 times in the morning, 200 times at night. It can take, what, 2 minutes, 4 minutes? I would do that every day. I am prosperous. I am prosperous. In addition to my own affirmations.
Okay.
If you do that 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, you're building you as you go through your day, your cells slough off and you create new cells. So every single cell in my body by this time, 30 years later, embodies that I am prosperous.
Yes. So in other words, you integrated the energy of your words into your cells. You integrated the energy of your words into your body. You integrated the energy of your words so that it became your vibration and it became your emanation, and that emanation attracted its reflection. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Not just my words and my thoughts.
Yes.
Because we have to monitor our thoughts.
Yes.
We can be affirming, but as you know, when you do this work,
yes,
messages of doubt come up. Messages
Fear
from our
and
childhood, all that stuff come up, and they come up to be healed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But they also get scared. That's part of you. Like you said, the fear comes up. And so you have to start monitoring your thoughts.
Absolutely.
To make sure you're not creating. So just because your words might say one thing, your thoughts might be thinking something else. You have to get very good at just, using these affirmations to create, not just by words, by thoughts, and by action. And that's my big next thing that I'm very, Edwin said, how is not my problem. You don't have to worry about how you're going to create something. You just take one step and the universe will bring the next step. And I'm a very big believer in taking action towards your passion, is what I call it.
Yes.
If there's something you're passionate about, you just take a step and let the universe bring the next step to you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So if I hear you correctly, to summarize for our guests, Elizabeth integrated the principles of prosperity into her life, and she did so in such a deep way that it became inevitable that the inner prosperity that she began to not only affirm, but also to believe and to act on, became attracted to her, became reflected to her in her outer world. Now, as we know, it's a little deeper than that. She alluded to some inner child work. She alluded to becoming aware of the different layers and levels of her consciousness that had to be healed. And we're going to work with that a little bit more and a little bit more in depth after the commercial break. But what she's saying is this was not just an occasional thing. This was something that she lived. This is something that she embodied. This is something that she became. As you know, viewers, when you say I am, what you are doing is magically incanting, which is why enchantment is such a wonderful word. It's the same root. You are incanting what you are. You are calling for what you are. You are allowing yourself to be what you are. You are telling you are, and you are therefore causing the universe to reflect that to you. So when she went on her journey of I am prosperous, I am loved, I am enough, I am whole, I am worthy, she enchanted those things, and she enchanted the universe. And the universe had no choice but to respond. So we're going to go into that after the commercial break here on the Miracle of Prosperity.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
What would Louise say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity on the New Thought Media Network with my guest, Elizabeth Gensler. She is speaking to us on how to move from manifestation to prospering, which is where manifestation is simply a natural outgrowth of our prosperity consciousness and our prosperity energy. Now, in the first segment, we talked about how we have to integrate the teachings into our energy and how we have to cleanse, heal, or transform or allow miracles in our minds to see the world differently, to see ourselves differently, and to see the universe differently as a benevolent source and force. And one of the things that Elizabeth alluded to was that there might be a little bit more than
Just
that.
a little bit.
Just a little bit more. And so I want to frame this in two ways. And in my book, The Soul of Prosperity, I have a whole chapter on emotional release, emotional healing, emotional cleansing, and another chapter on all of our inner saboteurs. So with that framework, there are things that we have to work with and work through in order to allow this prosperity consciousness to move us from manifesting to prospering. So can you speak to us about that, Elizabeth?
Yes, absolutely. My favorite thing to talk about.
Yes.
Well, I alluded to the inner child work, but not just inner child work, those messages, wherever those messages came to us from, whether it's a young age or society. When I was first creating my business and I was affirming all the I am prosperous, I am now creating work as a writer, producer. And as I was getting work, I realized I had a belief that I could either be a successful in work and make money, but I'd be single, or I could not make money and be in a relationship. I don't know where that came from. That was before I created Gary, but I had this inner belief that I couldn't, if I was going to be successful, I'd be lonely.
Yes.
I didn't know I was carrying that belief, but doing this work led me to that. And I was able to look at that and then do some inner child work and let my younger self know that that's not true, just because that's what I saw in the world growing up. Doesn't mean that's what I had to be.
Yes.
I could create whatever it was I desired.
Yes.
And I had to start expanding my consciousness around that and changing the picture.
Yes.
One of the things I love, Jim, is that I forget the verse where it comes from. How big is our container? Is it a thimble or is it a bathtub?
Yes.
I know that Stretton Smith talks about that.
Yes.
But when you're creating, how much can you contain and how much do you believe?
Yes.
Because if you have a small container, if you only believe you can have a little bit, that's all you're going to be able to hold.
Yes.
So you have to work on expanding your picture of reality, work on expanding your consciousness.
Yes.
And doing this work helped me because I had to change. I had to change my belief.
Yes.
I had to know that I could have it all if I wanted it all.
Yes. Let's put that in the context of A Course in Miracles, because one of the objectives of the show is to relate the Course in Miracles to our audience in a way that is accessible to them. A miracle is a shift in perception. And that shift in perception is not only how we think, but it also is a shift in how we are. For how we think activates our energy and the energy of how we are, which activates our vibration, which activates our emanation, and what we emanate is what we attract. So the miracle here was that Elizabeth had gotten some ideas, perhaps from the ether, perhaps from society, perhaps from just being in the world of a world of lack and choices. Perhaps that you can't have it all. You're going to be one of these old single women who doesn't have a man. A man. And she had to plumb the depths of her consciousness to find out where that error in thinking came from. And then she had to heal that error in thinking. And that healing, that shift from us to the truth of God's unconditional love and God's expansive, infinite power. That shift is the miracle that allows us all to expand what we allow and the ways we allow love to be made manifest in our lives. So the question that Elizabeth might ask to each and every one of you is, what are your limiting thoughts for you? If you don't know, they show up in your life. You want to speak to that a little bit more, Elizabeth?
I do. In my workshops, Jim, Reb Jim, I ask people, once they know what it is that they want to create, one of the questions I have them write down is, well, why am I not doing this? What is my excuse? What is keeping me? What is my belief? So for when I was creating Gary, my husband, I was always dating unavailable people who are unavailable. And I was ready to be in a relationship with an available man. But before I did that work, I did this work. I said, why am I not dating available men? Was the question. And my excuse, what I call an alibi, was available men are boring. That was my excuse.
Yeah.
They're not going to be any fun. I'm only attracted to unavailable. Like I had this excuse.
You like
that
the
was
bad
keeping me.
boys.
Yeah.
You like the bad boys.
Like a lot of 20-year-old women. But I had this belief, but it was an excuse. It was keeping me. And once I could make a commitment to myself to change that, then I could start looking at some deeper issues that were also keeping me from that.
Yes.
That's why I tried to protect myself from, possibly.
Yes.
And I was able to take action to change it.
Yes.
So that's what I have people do. Why are you not creating what it is that you desire? And I love the word desire. I think we talked about this the other day.
Yes.
When you break up the word desire, the DE is of the, and sire is king, but metaphysically universe.
Yes.
Yeah, our father, right?
Yes.
So when you have a desire, this is what I tell when I teach and when I coach, when you have a desire, it's yours to do.
Yes.
No one has, everyone has unique desires. I'm not going to desire something that I don't want to be a brain surgeon or a veterinarian. Plenty of people do. Lots of people don't want to get married and have kids. That was my desire. I did. So whatever you're desiring, you have the capability to do it. It's just what is in your way. Your belief system, your inner child wounds, your lack and limited consciousness and thinking. And all of those can be addressed and changed, but it does take work. Yes. And some of the work is simple, I say, but not easy, like affirming I am prosperous 200 times a day. That's simple, but it's not easy because people don't want to necessarily take the time to do it every day. And then the inner child work, becoming aware and taking action to change. That takes the extra step, an extra effort. But if you really want something, why not? If not now, when?
When, right. Exactly. Beautiful. I love that. That's one of her taglines, folks. If not now, when? So what I hear you saying, Elizabeth, is that the inner work of prosperity is equally important as the things that we often think of as it relates to manifesting, like affirming. And that inner work, plumbing the depths of the inner child for the misinformation and the miseducation it received, healing the wounds within us from past trauma that have caused us to believe ourselves undeserving, or the past trauma that still lives within us, and that which has energy that blocks our good. That is equally important. Did I hear you correctly when you said that?
Absolutely. And to bring it back to the bigger picture of manifesting versus just specific things, but the whole deal, the whole enchilada. I was remembering about 15 years ago, I started a different practice, which was instead of just affirming the individual things, what is the feeling of being prosperous? So in my meditation, instead of just being, I am prosperous, or, I am now creating this, what does it feel like to be prosperous?
Yes.
And then I even changed the word to unlimited. What does it feel like to be unlimited? And I just sat in the feeling, because that encapsulates prosperity in every area of your life.
Absolutely.
So I think that's another, I want to offer that to the listeners. It's a beautiful way, to create, even if it's peace, if it's joy, get into the feeling of that which you want to create, not just the words. You can go beyond the words.
Yes. Neville Johnston did a lot of work in terms of the feeling is the energy. And when you can contain, hold, and experience the feeling of it, that is the energetic vibration that you then emit that brings it back to you, or brings you to it. So that is so powerful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So you've gotten some wonderful tips, but one of the other things I'd like for us to bring out, Elizabeth, is a word that you used, practice. Now, the folks that I taught at InnerVision, they roll their eyes when they hear that word, because if I said it once, I said it 77 million times. It is important that you have a daily spiritual practice, a daily, regular communion with the creative force and the creative source, a daily, regular bath in the loving light, healing grace, and creative power that will move through you, that will possess you, that will fill you, causing you to allow your good. So you want to talk about the importance of a prosperity practice?
Absolutely. Thank you. You mentioned earlier in the show, the I am presence.
Yes.
Everyone has a different name for that higher power, that higher spirit, God, the I am presence that I believe is in each of us. And so my practice is I surrender to that every day. I start with surrender prayers. And I start my day surrendering to that spirit of God, spirit of the universe, whatever within me. My favorite prayer is, of myself, I cannot do it. The spirit of the universe that I am can and is creating miracles in my life now. Of myself, I cannot do it.
I love that. That's my favorite one from Catherine Ponder too. I alone.
Is that where it's from?
Yeah. The God within me can't and is creating miracles in my mind.
In my life now.
And now. Yes.
Yes. Good. I'm glad you reminded me, Catherine Ponder. That's probably the creative laws of dynamic laws of prosperity or dynamic laws of prayer.
The red letters. The white book with the red letters. Yes.
I love that one. So I start my day surrendering. And then I affirm the I am prosperous, I am prosperous, I am prosperous. And then I meditate in addition to that. In my workshops and even when I'm a guest speaker, there is a meditation I like to do, which gets us into our I am. You know, we kind of release our body, release our emotions, and we just tap into that I am presence so we can sit and listen. So when I don't start my day off that way, my days never work quite as well.
It's a mess. Exactly. So I want to bring out one last thing before we go to break and take questions, because we're going to go to break and then we're going to take some of the questions from many of the guests who have written into the chat room. But before we do that, I want to work with one last thing that you said, and that is surrender. And that is so important. And it correlates with what we were talking about relating to Catherine Ponder. I alone can't do it, but the Christ within me can and is creating miracles in my mind, body, and affairs here and now. 1/4 of the lessons, 25% of the lessons in A Course in Miracles are what I call surrender lessons. I don't know what the thing is for. I don't know. I surrender this to God. God will teach me. God will show me. God will show me how. And that is so important because our ego is like the piranhas nipping at our heels saying, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. We have to surrender the ego, its pain, its false limitations, its miseducation to that higher part of us. And so surrendering is one of the X factors of prosperity that few teachers bring out. So I'm so glad you bring that out. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad. I like our like-mindedness.
Yes. So with that, we're going to go to break, and you can put in your questions into the chat room, your comments into the chat room, and we'll address those on the next segment of The Miracle of Prosperity.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk. Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. with Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents A Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity on the New Thought Media Network. My special guest this evening is Elizabeth Gensler, prosperity coach, prosperity teacher, and motivational speaker. And we are talking about moving from manifestation to prosperity. And we have just been talking about the inner work of prosperity, which is the lion's share of what we must do in order to allow the prosperity that is all around us in infinite supply at all times. And at 8:32, Kevin had a question, and I'd like for us to explore the question Kevin had at 8:32. So you want to bring that up, Michael? Kevin's question at 8:32. How did you work on forgiveness? Do you have any practices for removing the blocks?
Hi, Kevin. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? One of my earbuds just fell out.
Good. You're good.
So forgiveness is a tricky thing, especially when you start this journey. I did not want to forgive at the beginning. I kind of liked having resentments. I like, but I had to start.
Shoes.
Yeah. So I started, well, actually, Kevin, I think, was in one of my workshops, and there's one, there's a great prayer, and I think it might have been from Catherine Ponder as well. I've taken a lot of classes throughout the years, and it's where you take the Psalm, "The Lord is my shepherd," and you put the person you're forgiving name instead of you put their name, and that's one of an exercise that I do a lot, which I really like. Yes. And then there's a great exercise from 12-step from the AA Big Book. I go to ACO. I used to go to ACOA meetings and Al-Anon, which is a 12-step program. And that's where I learned about this. And it's really looking at who are you resentful of? And then why? And then how does it affect you?
Yes.
And then where were you wrong? Where was I wrong in that? Yes. Looking at your part in this unforgiveness thing, because it's a two-way street sometimes.
Yes.
And what I found in that exercise, it always leads me to compassion. Yes. And I think the key to forgiveness is compassion. So in my life growing up, my dad was unable to give a lot of love. He was not available. That's why I was dating unavailable men. That was part of that pattern, trying to get that love. Yes. I used to think it was what was wrong with me. I'm not lovable. That was my core belief. As I went through this forgiveness process, I got to a place, it took a while, realizing that he couldn't give it because he didn't learn it. It wasn't given to him. It wasn't personal.
Yes.
And I found so much compassion and felt so bad for what he didn't get that it
Mhm.
allowed me to forgive him. But I had years of not forgiving him and being hurt and
Yes.
being angry. So it was Kevin, it was a process.
Mhm.
Didn't come easily, but I worked on it for a while. I did a lot of different things to help, but that's, I think, one of the most powerful ones. You know,
Absolutely.
what did they
Absolutely.
do? How did it affect me? And what was my part?
Yes. And that is so important that you said it's a process. That's why a daily spiritual process is so important. Our consciousness is in layers like an onion. So that layer of hurt from a father who was unavailable and who couldn't love you the way you needed to be loved, that layered on itself year after year after year. So luckily, it doesn't take year after year after year to undo it, but it is a repetitive process. In my book, the favorite line that some people love is rinse and repeat, because I go through the process of emotional release to get to healing. And step 7 of it is rinse and repeat, because it is a repetitive process.
I love
And one of
that.
the things, yeah, it's kind of cool. And one of the things I've learned as well is we have to be motivated to get to a place of forgiveness. So I think of a couple of lessons in A Course in Miracles, lesson 121 and 122. Forgiveness is the key to happiness, and forgiveness offers everything that I want, because that makes me want to, as opposed to keeping me comfortable staying in my resentments. And then there's another lesson. Forgiveness hides the light of God within me, which is almost akin to forgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Forgiveness hides that light that is the energy of creation, that is the energy of love, that is the energy of grace, that is the energy of power, that is the energy that allows God's love to be fully manifest within us and outside of us. And if we're not in an energy of forgiveness, then we are hiding or pillow smothering the light of creativity that allows us to uh, create and manifest that which we desire.
I
So,
would love to read your book. You have a book on forgiveness. Is that what you said?
oh yeah, I have one called "Forgiveness: Forgive Your Way to Prosperity,"
Okay, I love
and the big book. I call it the big book after the 12-step
that.
program. The big book is "The Soul of Prosperity." But in that book, one of the things that I have learned about forgiveness as well is that it is an inner state of being. It is not a verb that we confer on this one or that one or this one or that one. Because when we go into the story of what you did to me and what you did to me and what you did to me, we're actually magnifying the resentment, and we are not addressing the inner cause, which is, I'll use your example. The inner cause was there was a part of me that felt unloved, and I blame my dad. But as you poured the light of source into that wounded place, you were able to release your dad. You were able to let him off the hook as being responsible. You were able to allow the compassion of God that flowed to you to flow also to your father. And you had compassion for him. You saw him probably as the wounded child who didn't get the love he
Yeah,
needed. So
yeah,
how could he be expected to give it? And that
exactly.
process actually created a holy trinity: God, you,
Mm,
and your dad as one. And the
mm,
trinity of healing allowed you to get to a different place, a place of forgiveness, not
I
as a
love that.
verb where you forgave your dad, but an inner place of forgiveness, which is also synonymous with that inner place of creativity, power, and manifestation.
Mm. Oh, I love that.
So
And
go
I
ahead.
think
Yes.
where a lot of people get stuck, well,
Yes.
I don't think get stuck, is some of us, and I know I was there,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to forgive
Mm-hmm.
because playing that in that victim role
Mm-hmm.
is an excuse, right? But we don't
It's a
see it as an
juicer
excuse.
too. It
It's a
juices us.
what?
It's a
Yeah.
juicer. When we're mad, we feel alive. When we're mad, we feel animated. When we're mad, we feel motivated.
Right.
And so it gets us juiced, but it's really like a
Yes.
sugar high, because
Yeah,
then we
absolutely.
crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those who are stuck in that
Yes.
loop
Yes.
can't get past it and can't see beyond it. And it
Mhm.
takes this work, being able to
Mhm.
surrender
Right.
and see that forgiveness is a key to prosperity, because
Exactly.
when you are that energy of unforgiving, believing that somebody owes you something, they owe you an apology, that creates debt in
Yes.
your financial life. Because it's
Yes.
an energy. Unforgiveness is an energy. So when you can see it as an energy and you're holding on to an energy that's keeping you stuck, then you want to get rid of it, right?
Yes.
I don't want this anymore.
Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers me everything I want. So why would I be in unforgiveness? We have to be. Now, Taja Hilton Phillips had another question, and I love this question too. How do you feel that you are rich or prosperous if you've never known that feeling?
That's a really good question.
Yes.
So also, and I want to point out, and everyone has a different definition of prosperity. Prosperity doesn't have to be money. It's prosperity in every area of your life. It can be joy, it can be peace. And people's definition of prosperity is different across the board. But if you are just talking about money and financial prosperity, Stretton Smith, who teaches the 4T class that we referenced, when he was working on his prosperity consciousness, he would go to a hotel, a very fancy hotel, and sit in the lobby and just kind of pour in the feeling of prosperity that he was seeing. And he invited the class, people taking the class, if you're used to shopping in a thrift store, up your consciousness and go to a department store. Challenge yourself. If you're used to eating somewhere, not eating out at all, go eat out, treat yourself and eat out. Expand your consciousness by doing something new. Also, you have to do it a little bit at a time, because you can't create what you really don't believe. I had someone in my early 14 class. She was young and she wanted to create $1 million. She wanted to become a millionaire, but she wasn't taking the action. She wanted to just fall in her lap. And she was currently working a minimum wage job because she was young. And she didn't even know what, $100,000 or $50,000 was.
Yes.
So she couldn't really believe $1 million. And if you can't really believe it, it's hard to create something you don't believe. But you can take baby steps to expand that consciousness.
Yes.
So what's a step towards what you want? What's a step towards, like I said, like Stretton said, go somewhere and be surrounded by people that are living the way you want to live, just to see what it's like, just to feel what it's like, and take baby steps and figure out, and vision boarding. You do vision boarding, correct? Create a vision board of what that looks like to you. So it's really start to outpicture what that is, and feel it to the best of your ability at this point, and just know that it will get better and better, but it can be baby steps.
Yes. Quite often, Spirit says to me, and actually works through me in this way, the $1 million idea is a series of $1,000 and $10,000 ideas. And how that works for me is that I'll just say, I just went to Puerto Vallarta for a month and my visa bill's coming up. Wouldn't it be nice to just be able to pay that without digging in my big piggy bank? And Spirit will give me an idea. And it's the idea that generates enough income to pay for my vacation without digging into my piggy bank. And it's like, okay, this is a step-by-step way of doing it. And the other thing that I found to be useful as well is I have a joy journal. My joy journal is all these little things that are little demonstrations of prosperity. So sometimes I'll just look at my joy journal, and each one of these little things, like a picture of me at the beach with sand between my toes, or this little thing that happened. And it's like a little morsel that keeps me fed and keeps me knowing that the feast is a feast that can be a feast of morsels. So you probably, I know who this person is. She raised some amazing children while working full time and managing a house and all of that. And I know that one of the things that is a challenge for a mother managing all of that is time. So you may not feel rich in money, but when you had a vacation where for the first time, all the pressures of managing your family fell off, and you were sitting on the beach with sand in your toes, you felt rich because you felt blessed, because you felt full, and you felt like the universe was in your favor. All of those things, if as you catalog them, as you remember them, you tap into the energy of I am worthy, I am deserving, I've done this before, I can do this, I am eligible. And that allows even more. So all the little things that made you feel prosperous, not just rich, but prosperous, all those little things, catalog them, refer to them, magnify the feelings of those. And they're like the $1,000 or $10,000 ideas that'll make you $1 million over a year. So
I
now,
was just oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I was just reminded of a student of mine years ago. We haven't touched on prosperity giving of your time, talent, and treasure, which is a big part of prosperity.
Yes.
This prosperity class, I had a mother of 4. She was on food stamps, and she wanted to attend the class, but didn't feel like she could do the tithing part. So we just had her write on a piece of paper if she could tithe, what it would be. But she started volunteering her time, and she started volunteering at a pet shelter. That job, that volunteer turned into a job, and then she got a promotion. And then years later, she started her own pet walking business that she then sold for 6 figures. And she went from food stamps to that, all from doing the 4 laws of prosperity.
Yes.
Giving.
So why don't you tell us a little about the 4 T's of prosperity?
Sure.
Okay.
The 4T program is Stratton Smith's 4T prosperity. It's 4T, the 4 T's. Tithing of your time, talent, and treasure. Or that's, I guess, the 4 T's, right? Tithing, time, talent, and treasure. But it's more than that. For the fullness of life is the rest of the title. The very first lesson talks about being at a restaurant and everyone else is getting served and you're waiting for the waiter to come take your order. And then you realize it's a banquet and you have to get up and get it yourself.
Yes.
And that's how he starts the lesson. That you have to get up and get it yourself. And each week, it's a 12-week class, he introduces a new prosperity lesson. And he also ties them to the 12 steps that we referenced.
Yes.
And together, all of that helps you create abundance and prosperity and helps you grow that container that we talked about. And you pick something that you want to create, and you have a prayer circle that you create with others in the class to affirm what it is that you're creating. So you have that support, and you're all on this journey of doing the 4 things that we've been talking about today. Well, giving of your time, talent, and treasure, taking action, watching what you say, think, and believe, and forgiveness. It's all tied up in that program. And most people who stick through it create beautiful things on the other end. The people I've seen drop out are the ones who get to that point where they're up against that inner child work we talked about, or the lack and limitation beliefs. And something happens called chemicalization, as you know, Reverend, when you start creating what you really desire and you see yourself changing, this new consciousness that you're building, the old consciousness comes up and wants to say, you can't do that. Who do you think you are?
Yes.
And some people buy into that old consciousness and just stop doing the work. And that's when you have to really dig in and do the work even more, because that will change. You will get past that, but it is part of the process.
Absolutely. Jan Van Zant says, when you declare yourself to be a thing, anything unlike it shows up for healing. And that's its job. So we have to work through that. So that's the 4 T's. It's fascinating and effective program. I want to thank you, Elizabeth. It sounds like you've gotten quite a few things going on. What you got going on?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So basically, I consider myself a guide for people who want to experience abundance in their life. And I, tell them they can do as I did, live these principles, and you can claim your magnificence at an accelerated rate if you use all 4 of these together. And I have started a speaking career, coaching, and I also lead workshops. I was at Pathways last weekend, and I spoke at Uni of Gaithersburg in February, and I am booked right now through May, but I'm now booking through June and beyond. So I'd love to do workshops and speaking and one-on-one coaching to help people break through that limitation.
Beautiful. Thank you.
How about you?
Oh, well, I've got some interesting stuff going on too. First thing is I want everybody to save the date of June 1. I'm sorry, April 1, April Fool's Day. On April Fool's Day, I will have a huge announcement, a big announcement. But until then, I've got a couple of new classes going that start in April as well. I'm doing 2 classes that help move us on the path of prosperity. These are both channeled classes. Spirit Speaks on Healing Core Issues is the first, and it's for 6 Mondays beginning April 20. Those core issues, like the one that Elizabeth outlined, was a part of her journey. We all have core issues like that. So Spirit is going to work with us, helping us to identify those core issues, offering prayer, energy work through the channel to heal those core issues so they no longer stand between you and your heart's desires. And that's going to be coupled with a class that I'm doing on Thursday night called Spirit Speaks on Past and Future Lives. And this is fascinating because the Monday and the Thursday classes, I do my classes 2 for the price of 1. My Thursday class, Spirit will give us insights onto the past life experiences that bled into this life, that created some of those challenges, so that we can heal those. So we will be healing not only our core issues in this life, but we will be getting insight from Spirit on the past lives that bled into them. For when we are healed, we are not healed alone, as A Course in Miracles says. But when we are healed, we are not just healed in the here and now. We heal just like a guitar string. When we pluck it someplace, the vibration goes up and down the string. When we heal all of our karmic patterning. And that leads us to future lives. So it's going to be Spirit Speaks on healing past lives. And what we're going to do, which we've never been able to do before because there's never been enough energy on the earth to do it. Many of us as old, tired souls say, I don't want to come back. I'm healing all this stuff and I don't want to come back again. And Spirit had a conversation. Well, if you didn't have those issues anymore, if they were all healed and all you had to do was come back and play and love and be in joy and be fulfilled and manifest whatever you wanted, would you want to come back then? It's like, okay, that's cool. So we're going to create our future lives based on the healing that we do in the current life. So we will not only have a better future life for the next 20, 30 years, but we will then look at our future lives where we can create and construct a life without the karmic patterning that we have healed, a life of pure joy, pure ecstasy, and pure fulfillment. So that's going to be quite exciting. So I started announcing this earlier this week, and I'm already 30% sold. So if these classes are of interest to you, get in touch with me so that I can save a spot for you, because these classes do tend to sell out. So if they are of interest to you, they're going to be powerful, they're going to be transformational, they're all channeled, so you know what that channeled energy is like and you know what it does for you. So join me with that. So that's what I've got going on, Elizabeth.
But it's amazing.
Yeah, life is good. But I want to thank you so much for spending your time and your talents with us. We're so glad to have you, and we will certainly have you back. So thank you, and thank the Gary you created. And you'll be back here on The Miracle of Prosperity.
Thank you.
Thank you.